Hello everybody. In today's tutorial we will see how we can use European Judicial Network website to fill out the certificate. In order to do that, we need to go on the European Judicial Network website, agn-crimjust.europe.eu, and then we should scroll down to the compendium. Then we click on compendium and we have different options. We can go to fill in an order or a request. Here we have different tools and different possibilities. In our case, we need to find the possibility that involves the framework decision 947, which is the probation order. So we need to scroll down, we select probation order, and then we click continue. Here we have the main headlines, the main sections of the certificate. And what is interesting to see is that we can select the language that we would like to use in order to fill out this certificate. So we can select from here all the languages, but be careful that only the headlines of the certificate, the sections, the title of the sections will change, not the content of your writing. So let's say we stay here with English in order for all of us to be able to follow. Then here you can upload your logo. If you have a logo at your competent authority, you can add it here. And then you can go and fill out every section of the certificate. Here is issuing an executing state. This is the issuing state, the executing state. Here is the court which issued the judgment imposing the suspended sentence, conditional sentence, and alternative sanction. You have to write down here the name, and then if you have a central authority in your country, you have to provide details. And here is the address, the concrete address of the authorities involved, and the language that can be used in the communication. Moving on to the authority which issued the probation decision. This is again the official name. If you have a central authority, if there is another competent authority involved, again you have to provide all these details where that particular competent authority can be contacted. Competent authority for supervision of the probation measure or alternative sanction. In the issuing state is a court, the authority, another authority. Again, you have to provide all these details: the address, telephone number, email, contact person, and again the language for communication. Information regarding the natural person in respect of whom the judgment and, where applicable, the probation decision has been issued. Again, you have to provide as much information as possible here. The last known address or the residence in the issuing state, in the executing state. Very important, the languages that the person understands, and so on. Information regarding the member state to which the judgment and, where applicable, the probation decision together with the certificate are being forwarded. Again, we have the different situations that are provided in the framework decision. This is the first scenario where the person is lawfully and ordinarily reside or has returned or wants to return. The sentenced person has moved or intends to move. The sentenced person has been granted an employment, the family contact, the study or training, or other reasons behind the intention to move. This section is very important based on our surveys because it can pose some problems. Indications regarding the judgment and, where applicable, the probation decision. Here is where we have to be very, very precise and very careful when filling out with data. Okay, and here it's the place where we need to describe the offense or the offenses that were involved in that particular sentence, the nature and the legal classification of the offense, and the applicable statutory provisions on the basis of which the judgment was issued. And then, in case the offense is one of the 32 crimes mentioned in the framework decision, you need to tick here as one or more. And then, in case the executing state declared that it will check for double criminality, here is the place where you have to provide as much information as possible in order to make sure that the executing state, the competent authority in the executing state, will be able to classify and to define the crime according to its own legislative framework. So here is where you have to provide as much information as possible. Moving on to the next section, indicate if person appeared in person and in trial resulting in decision. Again, this is a very tricky section of the certificate, because in some countries the summoning procedure is quite problematic, and therefore here is the place where you need to explain exactly how the person was summoned in case the person was not participating in person in trial. Again, in case the situation is not one of these ones provided under point 3, here is where you need to provide as much information as possible in order to demonstrate that the person was properly summoned and had the opportunity to be informed, to participate, and to be heard in the procedure. Moving on, indications regarding the nature of the sentence imposed by the judgment, or where applicable, the probation decision. Again, this is where we have to clarify if we are talking about a suspended sentence, a conditional sentence, an alternative sanction, or a conditional release. And then we need to provide as much information as possible regarding the pretrial detention of the person, if the person was serving a custodial sentence. In case of suspended sentence, we need to provide the duration of the custodial sentence that was imposed and it was later on conditionally suspended. And again, if known, the length of the deprivation of liberty to be served upon in case of revocation of suspension of the execution of the judgment, revocation of the decision on conditional release, or breach of alternative sanction, especially if the executing state is assuming also the subsequent decisions in case of a breach. This information needs to be as detailed as possible. The next section is about indications regarding the duration and nature of the probation measure or alternative sanction. Again, we have to be as precise as possible, and here we have to select one or more obligations or measures that were included in the sentence or in the decision, the probation decision. Again, in case you have any doubts, please provide here as much information as possible in order for the executing state to be able to adapt the sentence in case there is no direct equivalent of your obligation or measure. Okay, and here again, very important, if there are relevant probation reports, it's important to mention here and eventually to attach them and send them to the competent authority of the executing state. Other circumstances relevant to the case, of course, the signature of the authority, the position, the date, the numbers or the stamp if available, and so on. Now there are different options. Now it's either the certificate can be saved and sent from the platform, or in this case you need to click on send, or you can save it as a work file and then come back to it if it's not finished or you need to check some more information and so on. just to make sure that you don't lose any information. You can click on save as work file, and then you can come back later on. Once you finish it, as I said, you either send it to the competent authority of the executing state, or you can print it as a Word document or as a PDF. It's up to you. So this is how the compendium function of the European Judicial Network platform can be used. It's very friendly, very easy to understand and to follow. It's quite logical. It just requires a little bit of attention and a little bit of patience. Enjoy.